Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Two dumb Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice.
You know, personally, I think the worst invention that we have ever had is when they put the ashtrays inside the seats of the cars.
Oh,
I mean, I just think putting a lighter in a car is just kind of a bizarre thing, bizarre decision to make.
Yeah.
Anyway, but putting the ashtray literally inside the upholstery, the cushions, everything that's in those seats. They used to stick ashtrays everywhere in cars.
dude, they even used to have the an extra lighter in the back ones too. Some of them, yeah.
And then right there was more ashtrays.
Yeah,
like down on the back of that console.
Yeah,
there was ashtrays in the back of the seats.
Yep.
There was ashtrays on the door handles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what were people smoking, or were they smoking back in the day to the point to where that was the decision?
Dude,
we have to put ashtrays everywhere.
Dude, I remember being young, driving in the station wagon or the LeBaron, one of the two. Dad up front driving, just ripping heaters like he's Jim Leland, cigarette ashes everywhere. And then if you like, there was three kids in the back seat. Then if you had an adult in the back seat too, like you said, man, those ashtrays were going too. It was a wild time, man.
Adults just didn't care either. They lit up, and
you're getting cigarette ashes. You're getting sometimes hot ashes on you. You just rub it off and keep going. John, ashtrays in planes.
Yeah, the ashtrays in planes. I was telling Mike a couple weeks ago. I was watching Sanford and Son. It was on in the middle of the night, and they were smoking in the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's TV, but that's, back then, you were able to smoke in the hospital, walking around. Just such a bizarre. Again, to me, the ashtrays in a seat, with with as flammable as things are, and again, there's that padding in there that makes it what it is. Just a very, very bizarre decision, I think. And what was it, Mike? And if your parents didn't smoke, what was your ashtray filled with? Candy wrappers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Lollipop wrappers.
Yeah.
Dum-dums. Whatever it was you were eating.
Oh, and
straw wrappers.
Yeah. And then God forbid it's filled with the kid stuff when an adult who smokes get in the back seat. Because they would dig it out and you had to hold it until you got to a place that had a trash somewhere to throw it away. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was quite the scene, man.
Dude, I just love playing with the old, like the cigarette lighters. You let them go, and then you try and stab your brothers with them.
Yeah, right.
Then your parents are like, what are you doing back there? Nothing.
We're the youngest kid in the neighborhood walked around with a big circle on his face.
Dude, I remember one time, like I accidentally hit the interior with it. Oh man.
Yeah,
I was a dead man walking. We had that car for like 8 years, and I think 6 out of the years you can see the cigarette burn where I accidentally hit it.
Yeah, we lived it up back in the day, baby. That's right. We're a different breed.
That might explain a lot about us. Why
good
we
morning,
are
John
the way
on the
we
board.
are.
John says the series Mad Men shows how ass backwards people were in the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah,
you weren't kidding, man. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Of course, this is episode 747. Mike, we're gonna fly in like a jet today. This is episode 747. Back at it here this wonderful Thursday morning in Western PA.
Yes.
We got a lot of things to talk about today. We're gonna talk about the NFL meeting and the rule changes and such. Of course, happened over the last couple of days. That's kind of a big story, Mike, especially with some of the decisions made at the meeting. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We also have supposedly up-to-date information on Aaron Rodgers. Apparently, I mean, I will get to him in just a moment. Pittsburgh Pirates, Mike, they win 2 in a row. It's not quite a streak just yet.
Not quite. One more. That's called a winning streak.
But they did beat Cincinnati for a couple, Mike. They start a new series today against the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll see if they can carry that over. And Caitlin Clark back at it, Mike, and we'll see if she was able to follow up that great first game of the season she had, leading the game in points. All that and a lot more. Just hang tight, everybody. Good morning. Good morning to Tortilla on the board. Good morning to John on the board. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Tortilla says, I made a team in Madden called the Phoenix, and the VIP seats were called the Ashtray.
That's just great. That's just great.
Nice. I like it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mike. Let's start in the Buccos just to get them out of the way while people do come in. The Pittsburgh Pirates, Mike, they still have not scored over 4 runs. Now I lost track. I don't remember what it was the other day, but it's 2 more days added on to that. Mike, still, and again, when they were right around 20, I recall you said that it hasn't been done since the early 1900s, about 100 years. But the Pirates are blowing past that record, Mike, while they still struggle to score more than 4 runs of the last 2 games, even in the winning couple games in a row. They do beat the Reds 1-0 on Tuesday night. We're in another one, another game where Don Kelly gets ejected. Does this guy like to really stand up for the team, Mike, or does this guy just like to get thrown out? He's setting a record. He's at a record pace. Don Kelly is getting tossed from Major League Baseball games.
If you have to watch that lineup that you are given and that you're trying to put the best 9 out there every day, I would be trying to get thrown out every game as well. Let me go back there, get thrown out, drink some brewskis, and then watch my team lose. This guy is winning at life. He gets to be a manager,
baby.
Gets to get kicked out of the game and go drink some beers and watch him play. It's he's living the best life. But no, I do like that fiery. This team needs it. I thought the previous I always forget his name. Not Shelton, the one before him.
I don't know.
The one who took us to the playoffs. I always felt like he did it too much. And Shelton didn't do it enough. Derek Kelly's doing it just about right for me. He's picking his spots. Gene Lamont did have to call him back the one time. I think he ended up getting thrown out that game anyway. But yeah, I like it from this guy. This team needs it. Just how piss poor that offense is going.
Well, anyway, you slice it, Mike. This team did improve, to 17-33 over the past couple of days with those 2 wins over Cincinnati to win the series. That's right, to win the series. The Pittsburgh Pirates did win a series, 3rd series of the season. It's not like we're not going into June here just in another week or so, but that's the way it go. They're back at it today as they do start a series against the Milwaukee Brewers. Game 1 of 4 playing all through the weekend, Mike. The Brewers here. Game 1 is at 6:40 today. Brewers come up with a 24-26 record. We'll be starting Mike Burrows, who has not pitched yet this season, and their starter is going to still be to be determined. So not much information on those pitching situations going on today at PNC Park to start that 4-game series. A couple big pieces of news, though, that did come out over the past couple of days, Mike. Jared Jones, of course, number 2 in the rotation, or number 3, depending on how you looked at it. Jared Jones is to have season-ending elbow surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Jones, guys, whether you was waiting for him, whether you weren't, Jared Jones will not be on the bump this year, which is kind of a bummer to me because he was one of my favorite.
Yeah, God, yeah.
3. And whether the Pirates could get enough hits to score runs for Jared Jones if he would have in fact pitched, Mike, we don't know that, but we do know that we were missing a big arm in that rotation with him this year. He is out for the season with a elbow surgery.
Like that. That's a huge loss right there because this pitching staff, they're actually really good pitching staff. They would have a good 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 if Jared Jones was healthy, but it's the offense that can't do anything. You know, like somehow Mitch Keller's 1-6, and he's only really had one bad game. You know?
I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding. The fact that they haven't scored over 4 runs in
Yeah.
only 30 games. I don't
Yeah.
I don't recall what the number is
No.
off the top of my head, but you know, that's just telling you that these
Mhm.
top pitchers, again, Mitch Keller, the ace last 2-3 seasons. Then
Yep.
you had Paul Skeens. Then you had Jared Jones. Again, like they just are not getting wins. One guy has
No.
1 win. One guy has 2 wins. It's not good.
Yeah,
A long way to go, this team.
Yeah, Andrew Haney, like when we brought him in, you know, in the offseason, you and I were talking about him, just like how bad he has been throughout his career. This is the best he has ever pitched in his career, and we were wasting his efforts as well. You know, he ended up getting the win the other day, I think yesterday, but my Lord, even Bailey Falter's pitching well.
Like they're all pitching good. The
Yeah,
starters are
like
pitching just fine.
here's what's frustrating, right? We want to, you know, sit here and say Ben Sherrington's a terrible GM. He has some strokes of genius. Finding Falter, finding Haney, Joey Bart. Like he's frustrating because he has these strokes of geniuses where he picks these guys up off the scrap heap and they're great, but he can't fill out a roster. And so this is doubly frustrating.
And
and
he
the owner
leaves
won't give him
he
money
leaves
either.
the big problems out there highlighted.
Exactly.
You still didn't go out and pick up a bat. Spencer
Yep.
Horowitz was your big offensive pickup.
Yeah.
And two, you know, you still didn't fix your bullpen. Your back end still has Holderman, who gives up plenty. It's no secret that this guy just stinks.
Like
Every time they say he's one of the better pitchers, I just cringe.
Yeah.
You know, they start up, you know, talking him up and saying, you know, he's this, he's that. Holderman is one of the worst
terrible
pitchers on our team. Nobody else they don't give up like he does. It's insane. Also, though, Mike, here, you know, the thing about this Pirates team, they're just so weird because, you know, it's usually, as we say, they either do terrible things all the time, and like this record right now they have with, you know, they haven't scored more than 4 runs and, you know, going on 30 games. I don't recall what it is. If you could pull that up for me at some point, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I'll check
But
it
Mike,
out.
but on the other hand, though, you do have a lot of good things that pop up for the Pirates throughout the course of a season that people don't notice because it's the Pirates. And we can set like the Pirates could be what they're doing right now, and then they could come out next week and throw a no-hitter with Paul Skeens. That's just the kind of team the Pirates are. They're schizophrenic. There's no rhyme. There's no reason to what they do. But Mike, get this: one of the big highlights so far this year is O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz at this point has 17 stolen bases, Mike. 17. We're not even in June yet. So say what you want about Omar Cruz and what the offense is able to do so far for the Buccos. O'Neal Cruz. I don't know. Was I calling him Omar? O'Neal Cruz. Mike, and he has 17, those 17 stolen bases. Again, you have all summer to go. It's a long season. He could actually salvage this and make himself a pretty good season. Probably end up an all-star. I mean, he is starting to hit the ball a little bit more. He was drilling out of the park a couple of weeks ago pretty regularly. And again, 17 stolen bases so far, Mike. So again, this team will do these weird, good things in the midst of doing terrible things all season long. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if some point this year Paul Skeens throws a no-hitter. It might be the only way that he could get to get over not having any run support. He just has to do it himself.
Yeah, that's what he's going to have to do. He has to go out there, you know, more or less every day, pitch a perfect game. And, you know, you can't do that. And the Pirates ran 26 consecutive games.
26 straight games. They haven't scored over 4 runs. And then you got Milwaukee coming to town, which is a team we generally don't do great against. Let's get to a couple of these messages on the board.
This is great.
Tortilla said, I saw a report to Skeens privately requested a trade, but I don't know how true it is. Tortilla, there's the rumor's been going around.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if it's because he requested it, but I do know that people are talking about it and they're saying, well, let's stop embarrassing this young kid. He's going to be one of the best ever. Let's try to get something out of it, which is stupid, in my opinion. Go out and spend money and get hitters.
Yeah. You
did nothing for this offense over the offseason. Again, Spencer Horowitz was your big move, and he's been out the first 2 months of the season. He just finally came back 2 days ago. It's insane. That was the big offensive move. You're talking about, again, this is just rumors. When people are talking about trade schemes, how about we try to build the team like a normal franchise for once? Go out and get a couple batters. Go out and do something. Do something. You can't do nothing. And when we don't win, or Paul Skeens doesn't get the support, you can't say, well, let's just trade Paul Skeens. That's got to be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. I mean, well, let's just give up already. This guy came here and he made more, got more attention to this Pittsburgh Pirates team than anybody has for the last 10 years, certainly. Unbelievable, the thought process and the way the fans just kind of go along with it. That's what kind of pisses you off, because no, just stop going to the game. Hit him where it hurts. Don't show up at the game. It hurts the bottom line. Then he'll start acting right. Until then, guys, why? Why would he? He's making hand over fist by doing jack shit. He's got the best gig in town. Let's see. Jumpin' Jehoshaphat. I like that. Jumpin' Jehoshaphat. Welcome to the show. Always great to see new names on the board. He says this new hitting coach still has a job, which is insane.
Somehow.
And they're so queer the way they do it, because we'll let Shelton go. We'll make Don Kelly the interim coach, but then we'll hire G. Lamont, who was a terrible coach back in the day, couldn't get his teams above 500. Let's hire him to have him tell Don Kelly how to coach. Let's hire a guy that's 97 years old to come in and teach the guys how to hit. Everything they do is wrong.
Uh-huh.
It's almost unheard of. It's almost it feels like it's not real. A few other things, Mike. We will move on past the Pittsburgh Pirates. Over the past couple days, the news did come out, man, that there was a man was charged with giving that 20-year-old alcohol who fell from the Roberto Clemente wall, PNC Park, a couple weeks back, and they did charge someone, Mike, because he was in fact 20. That was my concern, because again, you see somebody underage, you know they're going to jump on it, especially with liabilities, lawsuits.
Yep.
PNC Park, of course. Bob Nothing doesn't want to lose any money.
Oh,
hell no. We have to find somebody. Like they brought in the best technology. They had that shit that could zoom in on your face from 600
right?
miles away, and it could tell me if you got a booger. Like, it's insane. So Bob Nothing pulled out the big guns because he didn't. He doesn't want to be held responsible for that. But they did. They got a dude, some man. I don't know. I didn't really catch the whole story, but I guess he was a friend.
Yeah, I think that's what it was too. Yeah. So they tell you, man, don't serve your underage friends alcohol.
Yeah,
you're responsible.
And finally, Mike, in baseball, the Reds star Ellie De La Cruz. It's okay. It's looking like he's going to have right around 422 strikeouts by the end of this month. Okay, 422 strikeouts total by the end of this month is what they're projecting for Ellie De La Cruz. Mike, Tony Gwynn had 434 strikeouts in his career. That's how good Tony Gwynn was. People talk about the best ever. Pete Rose, these guys. Tony Gwynn struck out 434 times in his life, in his career, in his long career.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just the quality of baseball back when people loved baseball. And now, you don't see the guys. I don't know, in my opinion. I mean, you know what you do? You have your Bryce Harpers and guys like this. But, those kind of great numbers, Mike, you're never going to see again. Pete Rose, that number's never going to get broken. And which I wanted to ask you, what's that? Well, you get the point. I mean, is there ever going to be another person? How long did it take Ichiro to come along? And is there going to be somebody else that can get to that number is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You got to let me get my point is, Mike, I mean, and also I do want to say this. Does the lifetime ban, is it over since Pete Rose's life is over? Again, we had this conversation the other day. And it's still being talked about, Mike. Again, it's not on the morals or the conduct of the player. It's on what they were able to establish as a baseball player. I say yes, Mike. I am all the way for Pete Rose. I think you can't have that many hits in the majors and not be in the Hall of Fame. Again, put something by his name. The guy bet on sports.
Exactly. Yeah,
and nobody's ever going to care. I promise you.
Yeah.
Because you know how much I care about Shoeless Joe Jackson? None. Yeah. If he gets in, good. If he doesn't, oh well.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to care. Put the guy in.
Same thing with the steroid era guys. Everyone knew they were doing it. The front offices, the media, they were all complicit in it because it brought baseball back. Baseball was on the brink of almost collapsing after the strikes and lockouts. So put all these guys in, but like you said, put something on the plaque. Hey, Pete Rose gambled on baseball. hey,
And people just like Black
Roger
Sox,
Clemens,
they're
got
just going to
called for
shrug it and go,
steroids.
you know what? That was probably
Yeah,
a really good baseball player, and he was probably punished for what happened at that time. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, I want to know that I want to see Shoeless Joe in the
yeah,
Hall of Fame. I want to see. Why not? They're the
yeah,
best baseball players.
yes.
I mean, they can't help that they had a problem. I mean, like Antonio Brown, how you gonna hold his numbers against him? Well,
Mhm.
let's not let his numbers count because he was a nut. I mean, it's
Yeah.
stupid. It's they performed those numbers.
Mhm.
You got to let him have it.
Like Tortilla said, get rid of sports gambling and bring back steroids. Hell yeah.
That was what
That's when baseball was the best.
that's when baseball finally made a little bit of a budge. You're right. Let's see. John says Skeens needs a no hitter plus hitting the walk off home run in the bottom of the ninth. That's what it's gonna take.
Exactly.
That's when we were good 10 years ago. That's what people said. But you know what? It was AJ Burnett who was getting it done on the hill, and then he also hit home runs, and that was a fun time.
Oh,
I like to
he's
see
a
Paul
bulldog,
Skeens.
man.
I like to see Paul Skeens do that. We need all the help we can get at this point.
Yep.
Tortilla says get rid of sports gambling and bring back steroids. Again, from 98 to 2005, baseball is as good as it's ever been in my life.
Mhm.
The way them guys were hitting the ball. Richard, good morning, my friend. Always great seeing you on the show, man. On
What
the board,
up?
welcome aboard. That's going to be it for baseball, guys. I'm starting to shake a little bit. Let's move on. Like the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they did have their Lamar Hunt U.S. Open tournament game against Philadelphia yesterday. It didn't go quite as well as we hoped that it would.
Yeah.
The Riverhounds, Mike, they fall 4-1 in that big tournament. In that round of 16, they just couldn't get by Philadelphia.
No.
They lose, but Mike, they won't have too much time to sit back and think about it. The Riverhounds back in action on Saturday at 4:00 p.m. against Rhode Island.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd have another magical run like they did, but two seasons ago. Fell flat. Poor Riverhounds. They haven't been the same since that high, man.
I think the fact that they just got out of the first round of this year's tournament, that's
yeah.
not a bad thing. I don't think people expect this team to do really well, but they get in there and they make noise.
Yeah.
At least
Hey.
this, 2 years ago, last year they didn't do good, but they did pull off an upset this year, so we'll take it.
Hey, anytime you can upset a team, a division above you, that's a big accomplishment right there, because MLS teams have so much more resources than the Hounds.
Absolutely, man. Also, Mike Caitlin Clark, she was back at it. She took on the Dream and Brittany Griner. Everybody knows Brittany Griner. They lose by 91-90. They drop the game, but they get the chance to make it up tonight as they get the Dream again. This time on the road, Mike, to get that game back. Caitlin Clark in that game again, game high, 27 points. 11 assists, 5 rebounds. Brittany Griner, she finishes with 21 points, 8 bounds, and 2 assists. The Fever and the Dream will be playing today at 7:30. Again, Mike, the Fever and the Dream both 1-1. Caitlin Clark 2 games in a row, 2 games game high. Again, Mike, this is her comfort season. She's done with she got over all the rookie things she had to get over. She's comfortable. She had a year to prepare. She has a year of experience. Watch out for Caitlin. If she doesn't win the MVP, again, she's off to a great start so far, Mike. Game high, both games against 2 teams that had very good talent on both of them. Brittany Griner certainly in this one. Though, again, Mike, they'll be at it tonight for game 3 of the season. Check out Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever tonight.
That was a big comeback too. They were down, and she led that comeback, couple back-to-back threes to start it off, and they started rolling. And then, 3 seconds left in the game, you have possession, and Caitlin Clark never touched the ball.
Yeah,
that's a piss poor play design right there.
It's like, don't give it to Jordan for the last shot of the game. It's just insane. You give it to your playmaker.
Yep.
That's why they're there. So that, again, Mike, tonight, game 3 for the Indiana Fever. Speaking of Indiana, Mike, the Indianapolis Colts owner, Jim Irsay, he passes away yesterday, Mike. Jim Irsay yesterday. And also George Wendt, of course, Norm. Years the day before, 76 years old. Jim Irsay yesterday at 65. Maybe Caleb won't be in today because of the death to the owner of the Indianapolis Colts. Moderator.
The death of the owner. But, the Pacers, the big victory last night in overtime. I think Caleb might be out celebrating / mourning today.
Well, I got to say this, Mike. I do want to throw this out because I did throw out the top or the Final 4 hockey teams. I'm splurging here, baby. We're talking basketball today. The Final 4 in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
is, of course, the Indiana Pacers versus the New York Knicks. Pacers up 1-0 in that series. And tonight, the Minnesota Timberwolves and Oklahoma State Oklahoma City take each other on at 8:30 tonight, Mike. That is game one of that series. So that's your Final Four in basketball. We talked about the Final Four in hockey. They always are neck and neck. So we'll have a champion from both of those leagues before you know it, Mike. But those are your Final Four.
I tell you what, I'm so happy that the Knicks lost. I've always hated the New York Knicks. It was great to see them lose again, and to see Halliburton do the Reggie Miller choke sign to New York.
Yeah, it's a classic series, especially.
I fucking love it.
Yes. Let's get a couple of these out of the way. A couple messages. Mike John says they should be called the Pittsburgh Beaverhounds. That's right, they should.
I like it.
Damn right. John also says I like talking about tall women's sports. You ain't kidding. I love women's volleyball and women's basketball and everything.
Your crush,
women's football.
Your former crush on Brittany Griner.
My Brittany Griner.
Yeah.
Tortilla says the Pittsburgh Peppers. The Pittsburgh Peppers.
No pepper.
Let's get into some football, shall we? Mike, the big meeting went down.
Yes.
3 things that I was concerned about was talked about. Adjusted, fixed, revised. However you want to put it, Mike. The big 3 for me was the onside kick.
Mm-hmm.
Did that rule get changed, fixed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Of course, the tush push. The tush push, a big one a lot of people are talking about. And, of course, Mike, the NFL players are going to be able to participate in the Olympics in 2028 in Los Angeles, Mike. So those 3 topics were talked about. There was some decisions made. Let's start with the NFL owners approving players to participate in Oklahoma City, or with this Oklahoma City and Oklahoma State with me today.
I know.
In the Olympics,
it's fun watching you struggle with this.
In the end, I'm fine. You just relax over there. The Olympics, Mike, they'll be playing flag football. There's a chance that there could be Pittsburgh Steelers. That's right, Pittsburgh Steelers playing on Olympic teams in flag football. When it comes down to it, I mean, it's certainly going to be less players. It's a whole different game. But at the end of the day, somebody like Minka Fitzpatrick, I mean, you don't know who's going to end up on these teams. You could easily have a Pittsburgh Steeler on this team, Mike, in the Olympics. Again, 2028 is when we're looking at in Los Angeles. So, at home here in the States is a nice place to get this, get it rolling. I'm excited. I'm anticipating watching this flag football. Again, for the All-Star game, I think it's garbage. For Olympics, I like it. It means something now. You have to go out there and try. The flag football in the NFL for the All-Pro game is lazy. It's just, let's get the talent out there and everybody let's look at them for 3 hours as they walk around on TV and do nothing, basically. This means something. This is for country. This is for competition. Mike, I dig. Of course, people are going to say the injury thing, but you know what? The owners are the ones that decided this is okay. I can't wait for the flag football.
Yeah, I can't either. And the field is a whole hell of a lot smaller, narrower. The only thing that's the same is what the end zone's 10 yards deep. It's going to be fun to watch to see what team gets put together out there because the rules are different. There's no contact. You can't stiff arm people and try and bowl people over. So you gotta get your shifty guys out there. Your Jahmyr Gibbs, your Bijan Robinsons, your Lamar Jacksons, Kyler Murray at quarterback, stuff like that. So it's going to be fun to see who they put out there. I just say, give me Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and DK Metcalf, and who's covering them? What Lithuanian is covering those guys?
Well, apparently, Mike, somebody might have a different opinion because they're saying in this poll that I'm seeing, they have DK Metcalf is right around the 23rd best wide receiver in the NFL. We'll get to that list and a lot more as it comes along, Mike. But just interesting that you said that because that certainly came out over the past couple of days. And I do want to talk about this list because they have DK at 23 ? Mike, also, let's go with the tush push next. Only because I really hate the onside. I really hate it. So I'm going to push that to last.
Yeah.
Mike, the tush push lives, just like Richard says on the board. The tush push lives, Mike, at least for another season. They're going to be trying it out one more time. The Pittsburgh Steelers were one of the teams to vote against the tush push.
Mm-hmm.
They needed 75%, Mike. They only got 22 out of 32 people to vote against the tush push. So it's going to be back, Mike. It's going to be back.
Yeah.
Push back. Philly's happy. A handful of teams are happy. At the end of the day, there's a lot of teams that aren't, but either figure out how to stop it, or again, the league will review it again and say, you know what, these are big, strong NFL caliber players. They can't figure out how to stop this play. Maybe we'll consider changing something down the road, but we're getting it another year at least.
Yeah, and like the Steelers said, the reason they voted against it is like their logic was if it's a player safety issue to push on field goals for the defense, it should be a player safety issue for the offense, pushing players into the pile as well. So at least they were consistent with their thought process about it. And maybe that should be, the league should look into, like, okay, why is it okay for the offense to push and not the defense to push? Just allow the defense to push. Have a little rugby scrum on this play right here.
That's what they're going to have to do. Like,
yeah, you have to
start bringing it. You know, they bring in the rugby players to kick. You're going to have to start bringing in the rugby players to play inside linebacker and nose tackle. They know how to stop this.
Yeah. Or like they said on the board, even on the offense, get 300-pound guys and just push all day long. That's going to be the new Steelers offense. Already supposed to in the lab working on that one. But no, I don't mind the tush push as long as it's the defense should be allowed to push back and make sure everyone is lined up correctly too.
Yeah, you can't have one side pushing their players, the other side not allowed to push their players.
And then allowing the entire offensive line to be in the neutral zone. No, you have to still adjudicate it properly.
Yeah, you got to have seven guys on the line. I mean, that's you got to the rules got to be the rules.
Yeah, like when you see like their guards and tackles more or less touching the helmets of the defenders, call it, man. That's an offside. Just call it fairly. Yeah.
I mean, if it's done right, but again, we will get a chance to see that one more season at least, Mike. And you know what? Again, love it or hate it, it's here to stay for a while. And finally, the last, if you could hold it together for just another 5 minutes.
I'm sorry. The comments are fire.
The very last one that I want to talk about is the onside kick, Mike. The tweak on that, it wasn't really a big tweak, but here's what I do know as far as the onside kick, how they took it, they tore it away from us last year.
Yes.
I mean, they gave it us back in a shell of its former self. But, Mike, the onside kick, now teams can now declare an onside kick at any point in the game as long as they're trailing, as opposed to only in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, does it make me happy? No, but let me continue. Additionally, onside kicks will be taken from the 34-yard line instead of the 35-yard line, and players on the kicking team will line up 1 yard closer to where the ball can be recovered. Still not anything that's worth anything to me. I like the onside kick. I like the surprise element. I like pulling it out and, like Coach Cowher did in 30 years ago in a Super Bowl. Why can't you use it at your own leisure? It's a surprise play.
Yeah.
Let it be a surprise play. Why do you have to tell the other team that you're getting ready to kick an onside kick? I hate this, and I hope that again, these are looks that we're going to get these next couple years, next year for sure, Mike, with these 3 topics. But we'll watch them play out and see what they do in the future. But right now, I don't think they did enough for the onside kicks.
No, they did not. And if you want to bring back the kick return element to the game, make the touchback, make the ball come out to the 35-yard line. Force teams to kick it short and cover.
Put the ball at the midfield, for crying out loud.
Or like, oh, you want to do a touchback? Guess what? Okay, the touchback's now at the 15 instead of the 20. That will encourage people to run out of the end zone.
Right. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do.
Do it both ways. If you want to kick it out of the end zone, if you want to kick it out of the end zone, guess what? Okay, now the offense has it at the 35. Oh, you don't want to run it out of the end zone? Guess what? You're getting out of the 15. Force both sides to make a football play.
But they got together. This is the brain work they came up with, Mike. So we'll see how it plays out this year. We'll see if it continues to be topics moving forward, to be changed or whatnot. But this is what we got, Mike. Those are the big 3. Anything else from the meeting stand out to you?
No, that was about it too. Oh wait, the playoff realignment was shot down.
Was it? Yeah, I'm glad. I hated it.
And you notice the Detroit Lions put it in because they wanted to whine and cry that they should have been it. Had a higher seed than probably like Tampa, who got in. No, you should have to win your division. I don't care if you go 8-9. You won your division.
Absolutely.
Detroit
you won your division. Absolutely.
Beat the teams that
there's nothing wrong
No.
they just people are saying, "Oh, I don't think that this team should have a number 6 seed or be a number 7 seed because they have 14 wins." That's the way the ball bounces. That's the way it's
Yeah.
always been. You know what?
Yeah.
Win the division if you don't want to be the 6th
Yeah.
or 7th seed.
Well, so 1 year you can be in first place, get knocked out. Another year you can be the 6th seed, and guess what? Go on and win the Super Bowl like the Steelers and Giants did. Just go in there and kick ass. Win the game. Don't be a little bitch afterwards when things don't go your way.
All right, let's get back on the board. Mike Tortilla Jackson says Knicks versus Pacers game was great. I can't stand watching OKC right now. SGA shoots 20 free throws a game.
He does that lean in and then falls back like he got hit. I hate it.
I still haven't got suckered into the NBA yet. I'm holding out as long as I can. They'll get me in the finals, but Jehoshaphat says women's beach volleyball is great. You ain't kidding. Oh, I could watch women's beach volleyball all day, and even indoors too. In the gym, the volleyball. Richard says the tush push lives.
It lives.
Tortilla says can't tush push in flag football. I guess you can, but for other reasons. I don't know what the hell.
Gotta throw the guys off the game, man.
You start pushing people around in flag football, you get the advantage, I think. Not from the traditional sense. Jehoshaphat says Steelers ought to just line up 11 300-pound guys and just push it all day long. That's what they said. One team ought to do that. They had to just totally sell out and invest in the tush push, Mike, and just get all these big guys and do that all season. Stop me. Go ahead. I dare you.
Like Derek Harbin, Waya Black, just let those two be your backfield and go.
The only thing that can stop the tush push, Mike, of course, is the cock block.
Yes.
Tortilla.
Yes.
Tortilla always has the best wisdom. I got to tell you. Jumping Jehoshaphat, he's making ground today. No two ways about it. He says the lineman could pick up the running back and just throw him over the D line. Just toss him like we were saying with the midgets the other day, Mike.
Exactly. We got Jalen Ward and Calvin Austin.
You
They're
just
little guys
right over the line, man.
Chuck them. See how far you can throw Calvin Austin. Last year, Calvin Austin proved he can take a hit over the middle. You can launch him airborne. He'll land. He'll be fine.
We could have definitely did midget tossing with Russell Wilson too. We did not take advantage of that. So
exactly. This is why Artie Smith needs to go. He was not forward thinking enough.
That and his mustache.
Yeah, he looks worse without the mustache. He needs the mustache.
He's a toad, man. Tortilla says the only real problem I have with the tush push is the formations. Some of the formations are illegal as hell and don't. No, you're right. They got to stay. They have to stay on top of the rules. There's no two ways about it, and that's why I think the tush push needs to be handled very carefully by the league, by the officiating. Otherwise, you'll then start seeing the reasons why people don't like it. But as long as it's handled right, Mike, formations are set. Yep. 7 guys on the line. Nothing changes. I mean, the rules don't change. It's just a different formation. Again, I hope the NFL handles it right. If not, get it out of there. Hey, over enthusiastic and Sam Caleb, the famous moderator for the show from Indianapolis, Indiana. That's always hard to say for me. Indianapolis, Indiana, a big Pacers fan. He says it's not too late to become a Pacers fan as he's rooting for the Pacers, and you get to root against New York, which is always fun for a lot of people. Mike, who do you like in that series, Mike? You like Indiana or do you like New York?
I like Indiana. Like I said, I've always hated the New York Knicks. They're just not one of my teams. I liked the Pacers back in the day. I always liked Reggie Miller, so I'm rooting for the Pacers.
Well, hopefully for Caleb, the Pacers can pull it off and they could go all the way. That'd be nice. I don't think the Pacers have done it in my lifetime. I could be wrong.
I don't think so. I don't think so either.
Get some new teams in there, which it looks like there is. I mean, Minnesota, come on. Mike, this is the list of the teams that voted not to ban the tush push. This is the teams that find possibly a advantage to having the tush push in the league. The Philadelphia Eagles, there's no secrets about that. The Baltimore Ravens, they voted for the tush push. Cleveland, Detroit, Jacksonville, the New York Jets, the Saints, the Patriots, the Dolphins, and the Titans. Those are all the teams that voted not to ban the tush push. And, of course, the remaining teams would be the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Bills, the Bengals, the Bears, the Panthers, Cowboys, Packers, Chiefs, Colts, Texans, Raiders, Vikings, Chargers, Giants, Rams, Steelers, San Francisco, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Washington. Mike, they all voted to ban, but you needed 75%. You just need 2 more teams. They would have 2 more teams voting to ban it, it would have been banned next year, Mike, just 2 teams short. And again, no surprise to some of the hard-nosed teams that are the teams that voted it in. Again, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Detroit, Cleveland, some hard-nosed defenses in there, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So they believe that they could stop the tush push. That's why.
Yeah, but make it fair. Make it fair for the defense. Or I'm just launching people over in line like Frankie Love did, just flying over the top.
Yinzer Joe, what's up,
What
brother?
up?
Nice seeing you, my man. I know that you were on vacation for a while, but great to see you back on board. Always great to see Yinzer Joe on the board. Please tell me you caught at least highlights. I just can't. Caleb, I used to love basketball. I used to love it. I loved it. Matter of fact, I didn't do anything in high school besides play basketball all the time, whether it be on the street, wherever. And then my oldest son got into it to the point where he was, he was a basketball star in high school and everything. Once he got done with it, I just said to myself, I'm putting basketball down for a while. I was basketballed out. And I just think that I will. I'll get into the finals. Get into it in the finals, Caleb. I promise you. I promise you. He says game 1 was nuts. Maybe I will check out the highlights later, but I'm still trying. Just like hockey, though, as well. I mean, if the Penguins aren't playing good, hockey's, at this point in my life, just hard to get back into. I love my football. I'm hopeful for my Pirates, and let's move on. Tortilla says I'm a Kings fan, and we used to have Tyrese Halliburton, so I'm rooting for the Pacers all the way. And you were saying you were a pretty good distance from SoCal, so are you up near Sacramento, more northbound there, Tortilla? I was wondering. Let's see. Jumpa Joseph says if they sign Rodgers, they better not give him number 12. I highly doubt they'll do that. I can't imagine in a million years they would give Aaron Rodgers 12. Caleb says, yeah, if you are a parent who has to take their kids, dude, and it was a season all around. I mean, the traveling teams and
just beats the life out of beats your enjoyment of the sport out of you.
It does. And other parents and people. Oh. Let's get to let me grab I'm sorry, Tortilla real quick. He says, yeah, like 30 minutes. Okay. So you're up more north, San Francisco, Sacramento, that whole part of the state. All right, let's get to it, Mike. We got more NFL and Pittsburgh Steelers scoop to get to. We talked about the tush push. We talked about the Olympics. Talked about the onsides. I think, Mike, it's time to move on. It's time to move on to some Pittsburgh Steelers scoop.
Let's do it. All
right, so we signed somebody yesterday, Mike. We signed an offensive lineman for depth. He was a former Houston Texan. The gentleman's name, I'm looking for it in my notes right now.
Oh,
Nick
I had
Broker.
it and lost it.
It's Nick Broker.
Yeah, Nick Broker.
He was a depth player, of course, Mike. That's just a problem that I think we had. We lost a lot of offensive depth this past off season. So bringing somebody back in, that's a step in the right direction. Again, I know nothing about Nick Broker.
Yeah.
But you know what, filling depth in the offensive line at this point, it's going to go a long way because again, you start dealing with the injury bug again. We kind of screwed ourselves. We don't have the James Daniels. We don't have the Nate Herbig. 3 or 4 guys right there you took from the pool of players. So definitely trying to get some offensive line depth back, Mike.
Yeah, and I don't anticipate him making the 53-man, maybe practice squad at best, because I think they're going to go with their inside guys are going to be Spencer Anderson and Ryan McCollum, and then someone like him, sneak him onto the practice squad.
Yeah. So we will see.
You get that.
Mike, you get an injury. You get one injury, then you know what? He's very important. He's he gets thrown smack dab.
Next thing you know, he's the backup.
And you know what? And with the Steeler team, with the line, who knows? He could be starting. So again, Mike,
because we saw guys, little injuries here and there where Frazier was down for a game or two, and Sayamalo was down for a game or two. So Spencer Anderson, McCollum had to come in, and those guys filled in well in short burst. But like you said, that those guys who can be potential starters for long term for the season, we don't have those guys. Last year, we got lucky. We had some guys who probably could have last year, but this year, not so much.
Mike, other big news is we did sign our number 1 overall draft pick yesterday,
Yes.
Derek Harmon, of course, with a 4-year rookie contract, $17,973,604. Mike, also a lot of that's what's guaranteed.
Yeah.
So now with him being signed, Mike, that is the whole entire
Yes.
draft class of this draft that just happened last month.
Yes.
Mike is signed for the Steelers, so we got our draft picks in place. We're at least we got those chickens in line, those ducks in a row, right?
Yep. Yeah. We want to go into training camp worrying about no one being signed. Everyone will be a full participant from the rookie class. That's good to go because you're looking like down in Cincinnati, their guy still hasn't signed because they won't put a clause in his contract. Hey, if you get hurt before OTAs or minicamp and all that stuff, you'll be getting you're covered like insurance wise and money wise. They won't do any of that for him. So he's like, I'm not going to go in and hurt myself and not be under contracting and whatnot. So at least our front office, they're good about getting everyone's contract done and filled in. And they had a lot of cap space. So if they wanted to get more money up front, they were able to get their guys in to have this team ready to go. I like it.
Yeah, for sure. I like him, Mike. And if he's as big, if he plays a bigger part of this team as they believe he's going to, we're going to be in good shape. So let's just hope that's the case, Mike. And we could start weeding the Marvin Liels and the other guys like this. Still somehow on
Louder
this football
milk.
team.
Yeah.
Louder milk. Come on. Martravius Adams. I haven't heard. Did anything happen between him and the Bengals? I know he was.
I haven't heard anything. I didn't see anything. I know he went there for a visit, but that's the last I saw.
Yeah, that was all I saw as well. The whole entire division is going to be full with Steelers before you know it when it's all said and done. Mike, let's get to this list of wide receivers where our main man, our new guy, DK Metcalf, Mike, he falls all the way down to number 23. I'm going to start with the top tier. The top tier, Mike, tier 1 has A.J. Brown from the Phillies, Justin Jefferson from the Vikings, and Jamar Chase from Cincinnati. That is the top tier. That is 1 through 3. If you're wondering who finished ahead of DK Metcalf in the PFF's top 25 wide receivers just released, Mike, again, tier 1, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. That's tier 1.
Yeah, that's fair.
Tier 2. This is number 4 through number 8. Tier 2, Amon-Ra St. Brown from Detroit, Puka Nacua from the Rams, CeeDee Lamb from the Dallas Cowboys, Nico Collins from the Texans, and finally Tyreek Hill from Miami. Mike, that is the tier 2 receivers 4 through 8.
I'm not so sure about Tyreek Hill.
Not a big fan of that either, Mike, especially he hasn't done much lately, has he?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. No. I'm not a big fan of that.
Let me see what the description. Hill's production dipped in 2024 as it did for much of Miami's offense, and he finished with a 77.3 receiving grade. Still, it's difficult to rank him lower than number 8, given how dominant he was in prior years. He posted the second highest WAR amongst receivers in both 22 and 23, with seasons of 1,779 yards and 1,861 receiving yards.
I don't know. I think he's starting to
decline.
He's not the greatest route runner.
You know where he would be good? If he went back to Kansas City. If he went back to that offense, he would be
Rashee Rice, James
he would be
Worthy,
back. He would go back to being Tyreek Hill again. I promise you. Let's move on. Mike, this is tier 3. Tier 3, which goes from 9 to 16. So grab a seat, everybody. Tier 3 wide receivers. These are receivers that are placed ahead of your DK Metcalf. Here we go. Number 9, Mike, is Mike Evans out of Tampa Bay. Number 10, Terry McLaurin out of Washington. Drake London out of Atlanta. Malik Neighbors out of New York Giants, of course. Garrett Wilson from the Jets. T. Higgins from the Bengals. Brian Thomas Jr. out of Jacksonville. Devontae Adams out of the Rams. And that is your third tier wide receivers. Mike, taking you all the way to number 16, sorry.
I don't know about Devontae Adams. I know he had some pretty good production last year, but I don't know. I think he might be on the downside of his career. And then with Mike Evans, if he's healthy, yeah, I still think he's one of the better receivers in the league. Terry McLaurin, I think, could be a little bit higher on the list. I think
Yeah.
he should be at
I
least
think after
right
this
by.
season, he will be higher.
Yeah, he's just been steady Eddie down
Here's the
there
thing about
in
him, Mike.
Washington.
He is, and if you've been watching, you've been paying attention, and you know football, you know that he's been doing good. But once he becomes that household name, which I don't
Yeah.
think that he is yet, I think Jaden Daniels is going to do a lot,
Yeah.
and I think that that he's going to be a big part of that. Tracy McLaurin or Terry McLaurin, I'm sorry, Mike,
Yeah.
and I do think that he will, as more people start recognizing his name.
Yeah.
They're going to say that this dude is one of the better. I mean,
Like-
come on. What I see from him last year with
Mhm.
a rookie quarterback who certainly overachieved, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I was very impressed, Mike. The reason was because there was the rumors that we had possibly had our eyes on him prior to
Yeah.
the season. We needed that other receiver. I kept
Mhm.
my eyes on this guy. Boy, he's the real deal. Terry
Like-
McLaurin should have
like,
been higher.
It should be. Like, he's been in the league 6 years, and his worst year yardage wise was 919 his rookie year. Like,
You know what?
He's just been plagued by not having any really good quarterbacks in his career.
Let me just grab a couple of these messages before I get back into the list. Mike Tortilla said Rogers probably getting number 8 from Waitman. He got. I think that's what it's going to be. He's going to get old Tommy Maddox's jersey. Jumpin' Joseph says I see Justin Fields beating the Steelers in the open. I was just thinking that yesterday. I was just thinking that yesterday. I thought I bet you they end up beating us. He also goes on to say he'll make Tomlin look like a fool for getting rid of him. And then he follows that up by saying they overpaid for Metcalf. He's not shitty or elusive or not shifty. He's not shifty or elusive and fails to create separation. Tortilla says don't sleep on DK. He then goes on to say saying London is better than DK is atrocious. And Yinzer Joe. It's just great to see Yinzer Joe's name back up on the board, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yinzer
been
Joe.
been a minute.
It's been a while. Well, always glad to have him back. He says exactly Tortilla. So let's get back to this list, guys. We are now on tier number 4. Tier number 4, Mike. This is numbers 17 through 24. Here we go. On this list, Mike, by PFF, your top wide receivers ranked. Tier number 4, number 17 overall. The player that lines up opposite side of the number 1 overall, Mike. This is Devontae Smith from the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, lining up opposite of A.J. Brown. Very, very tough wide receiver core in Philadelphia. Part of the reason for their success, Mike, Devontae Adams comes in at the top spot in the 4th tier overall, number 17 overall. Number 18 in the 4th tier is Chris Godwin from Tampa Bay. Number 19, Mike, a name that we might be familiar with for sure here in Pittsburgh, Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
San Francisco 49ers. We was hoping that he was going to be a Steeler, but that didn't play out the way we wanted it to. Number 20, Mike, another guy that we certainly would love to have here in Pittsburgh, DJ Moore out of Chicago. I know that a lot of Pittsburgh fans bring up that name. They talk a lot about DJ Moore. Like,
yeah, he was down in Carolina for a while. Not last year, but the year before, to Chicago, and him and Justin Fields that latter half of the year just had a magical connection. Just it developed all year long, and he
last year was
last year we wanted to get him because we have Justin Fields bring in DJ Moore,
right.
George Pickens. That would have been awesome right there. I was all aboard the DJ Moore trade. I still am. I think he's a very good receiver, very underrated.
Mike, next on the list, number 21 overall, also falling in tier number 4, Jalen Waddle, who kind of disappeared in my opinion. I even asked you about a week ago, Mike, what happened to him? He was great, and then he went to Miami. They're supposed to have this great receiving core, this good situation for passing, and both him and Tyreek Hill certainly are starting to sizzle out, and it's kind of concerning because I like Jalen Waddle a lot, Mike. I thought he would have been cool to have, but he falls to number 21 overall.
Only 2 touchdowns last year for Waddle.
Exactly. They're just, again, and then Miami season ends in December. They don't play after December. You start playing cold teams, which we get them late in the season. So you know what? We better get snow for that game.
Yeah. That was his worst year in the league. He was a 1,000-yard receiver each of his first 3 years in the league. And then he had like a Deontay Johnson type year.
Yeah. Mike, number 22, next on the list is Ladd McConkey out of Los Angeles Chargers. This guy is in front of DK Metcalf, the next pick, the next guy on the list, Mike. Ladd McConkey above DK. DK comes in at number 23. This is the text that comes with that information. Metcalf didn't have his best season in 2024 and finished with a 75 receiving grade, but he's been remarkably consistent throughout his career, never posting a grade below 73. Since 2019, he recorded 89 contested catches, and now he'll look to reset with a fresh start in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and he is not the best separator, but you hope that contested catch, and I want to see his numbers of that increase. Sometimes he can play a little soft for how big he is, but once he does get separation on you, he still has that high end speed. He's still hard to bring down. He's gotten better as a route runner, but I still like him as that outside threat, deep threat. He's not afraid to go across the middle. Hopefully they use him for, crosses and slants like that too. Because my God, that big body, just get him the ball in space. Just let him do his thing.
Mike, Chris,
but we need a route runner. We need a route runner.
Well, the player that we were talking about recently, which I didn't jump on this. I for whatever reason last week this became a big story. This Chris Olave, but Mike, he's number 24. He falls in the spot right under DK Metcalf, and that wraps up tier 4 on this list. Mike, Tortilla says you couldn't pay me to make a list this bad. Let's get to tier number 5. Number 25 overall, Mike, as far as wide receivers goes, Zay Flowers for the Ravens. Zay Flowers, top player in tier 5, number 25 overall.
I like Zay Flowers. I like the way he plays. Little guy. He's
kind of a midget, yeah.
Yeah, but he like at Calvin Austin, he's not afraid to take a hit. He's fun to watch. It just sucks that he's a Raven.
And that's what they say about Austin as well. You know that because that was their guy. We took him, Calvin. Mike, number 26 on the list. Just because he's young, I think this guy's going to certainly move up the list as his career goes along. Marvin Harrison Jr., the second player in tier 5, number 26 overall. Number 27. We're going to talk a little bit about some Ohio State receivers as we have been in the past few. Mike Jackson Smith-Njigba for Seattle, number 27 overall.
He had a hell of a season last year. I think he's going to have another really good year. I think last year's, gave him a lot of confidence.
I think last year he seemed to have a lot of help, though. I mean, he lost some of the big receivers that was allowed him to possibly get some separation and get open. So we'll see how he can do without the DK Metcalf. And I think the Lockett move as well, Mike.
Lockett's gone as well, but they also have Cooper Kupp next to him too.
Oh, we got Cooper Kupp. So
I keep forgetting they got Cooper Kupp, and that's really going to help him too.
So out of 32 teams, Mike, we're getting close to wrapping up the 5th tier. We have 2 more in this tier, 28 and 29. 28 is Rashee Rice from Kansas City. And number 29, the last in tier number 5 is Josh Downs from the Indianapolis Colts. Mike, so Downs.
He's another smaller inside receiver.
Right.
I like him. He's a good receiver.
Now we're going to get to tier 6, which is the last 3 players, Mike, 30, 31, and 32. Any names, Mike, that you think are going to be one of these last 3 receivers that you haven't heard yet so far? Don't strain yourself. If you can, you can.
I'm trying to think, like Courtland Sutton, maybe.
Okay, Courtland Sutton he's 31. Mike, he's the 31st on this list, and 6th tier, he is the 2nd. So yes, 31 is Courtland Sutton. 30, Mike, 30, the top player in tier 6, 30 overall, Deebo Samuel, who didn't move this offseason. So that's going to be interesting watching him go.
Yeah.
And then finally, Mike Jameson Williams from Detroit is the 32nd overall. Mike, his description is, to be honest, there's a group of 6 to 8 wide receivers who can make a case for this final spot.
Yeah.
But Williams gets the nod for his deep threat ability. Over the past 2 seasons, he has earned a 90.4 receiving grade on targets 20 or more yards downfield.
Wow. Now, I'm just looking at the stat receivers from last year, just looking at yardage and stuff. Like, I'm surprised Jordan Addison didn't make towards the bottom. Michael Pittman Jr. out of Indy.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good receiver still in the league as well. So a couple of names, those 2 popped out to me as well. Maybe even a Jacoby Myers, maybe could have come in at the bottom, because I'm not that big of a Deebo fan. I think Deebo could have dropped out. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is way too high. It's just based on his name.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But, yeah, some of that list, some of the names were head scratchers where they were placed, but nothing that I'm going to lose sleep over. I thought Brian Thomas Jr. was on there.
I don't know. I didn't see him. If I didn't read him, I didn't see him. So
15. I just pulled up the list. Yeah, he was 15th there.
Who did I say was 15?
You might have said him. We might have missed him.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway,
Dan Orlovsky.
Let's get some more of these on the board, Mike. Let's take a look. See, I believe we be right here. Oh, we appreciate that, Yinzer. YouTube, Yinzer Joe as well, of course. He then goes on, or then it goes. We'll go to Jump at Jehoshaphat. Think Metcalf is maybe just above average, but not elite, but still the best they have. Yinzer Joe, are the Steelers still trying to get a lave? If not, why don't they just get a free agent wide receiver like Cooper or Davis who's available? They want to seem smart, I think, and I just. They're trying to play it smart, and I think if they jump on somebody like that, you get an Amari Cooper, you don't know what the hell you're getting with this guy. I've seen some serious issues, and again, you know what? I don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers, which we're getting into next, and
or do they just want to see what they got with the other guys?
We do have a
just
rookie,
ride it
Roman
out
Wilson,
with those guys.
That should be a big part of this team this year, Roman Wilson. On top of your DK Metcalf, on top of Calvin Austin. I mean, it's not the most ideal situation. But throw away a lot of money at a big name receiver for a rental, maybe for a season or two. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to say, let's look smart. Let's get the draft next year. We have 12 picks. Let's make some stuff happen. But as Mike was saying, maybe they're just going to go with what they have.
Yeah, use this year to not throw games, but go out there and win what you win. To see what you got from guys. But but if you go out and get Aaron Rodgers, you better go out and get another wide receiver, a veteran wide receiver. Because you don't want to. We saw what happened last year when we were trying to win with Russ and Fields and only had one receiver. If we're going to do that again, bringing in a Aaron Rodgers, you better go out and get a legitimate as you can number 2 receiver is what's out there, and someone like Amari Cooper would be the guy.
Yeah. I am just looking. I don't know if I did Brian Thomas Jr. or not. I thought that I did, but we will see, guys. Again, I think we. Let's let it bleed over into the Aaron Rodgers talk.
Okay.
Because there's still a lot to be, a lot of information we don't know yet, Mike. And again, that goes a long way, I think, with this wide receiver position. Aaron, just looking for the myth. Aaron's just looking for the myth. Roman Wilson. Once he finds out if he actually exists, he'll sign. Where do I want to go, Mike? Here's one.
Steelers need a Deontay Johnson type receiver without the head case issues, right? That's what I would like to see.
I don't know. I mean, Deontay Johnson. I wasn't exactly thrilled with him either, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
guy that goes a whole season without a touchdown, that worries me. Yinzer Joe says we have a number 1 receiver and 5 number 3 receivers. We need a number 2 soon, or we're going to lose out again. I probably missed you saying. You know what? I could have skipped it. I don't know. Who knows what's going on?
Or you probably made up a name when you saw it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I probably missed.
You're probably Brian Jr. Thompson. Everyone was like, "Who the fuck's this guy?"
That's very possible. A couple of things, Mike. Some negative. I don't know if it's negative, but some things that you don't like to hear if you're a Steeler fan, Mike. George Pickens. He said it is super refreshing with being part of a different culture. So is this another shot at the Steelers not exactly having and again, I don't know what he wants.
Right?
He wants Mike Tomlin. He goes to Mike Tomlin and he hates it here. And then he goes
so again goes to Jerry World Circus.
Yeah,
and reports are coming out too. Like teammates would always try and reach out to George, see how he's doing and stuff, would never return their calls and messages. So it's like, what's going on, George? George's like, I just want to show up and do my job. Well, you were showing up late for games, George. How much do you really wanting to play and do stuff?
How much do you really just want to show up and do your job? Well, you got to do it as the game starts. I mean, come on.
He's $1 million talent, 10-cent head. He's like Jeff George, man.
Speaking of a dummy, but no, not a bad football player, Mike. Rob Gronkowski, of course,
Gronk,
who did play his senior season at right up here in Woodland Hills. Mike, he. And again, I'm not surprised he said this, but he says we've got the Steelers' number. I'm confident New England beats the Steelers this season. Mike, again, we're already talking about a loss to the Jets. We're already talking about a loss to the Patriots. We haven't even got into the good games yet, Mike. And the thing is, I don't think he's wrong. I feel that this Patriots team is just they're like the Steelers in the sense you kind of really don't know what you're going to get. They're not they don't have an identity. So I think just as they did 2 years ago, and just as they've done many years, I think that New England got a decent chance of beating us. You think?
Not really. I think we go in and we win that game.
All right. So you and Gronk disagree.
And I like Gronk too.
I like Gronk a lot. Gronk is great, man.
Yeah.
And especially because he went to school up here. It's cool with me, man. He's cool with me. Big, but you know what? He might be one of the biggest freaks ever that played the tight end position.
Oh my! He made grown men look like children.
Let's see. Let's also one other new player, Mike. Of course, Caleb Johnson, the running back out of Iowa that we did draft this year, talking about his versatility. He says, "I could be a Derrick Henry or I could be a Dalvin Cook." Well, let's just be somebody and make sure that we run the ball. Well, I don't care. I would rather you be Caleb Johnson and go out there. Listen, I understand the vernacular, but what I'm saying is I just hope that he goes out there and is Caleb Johnson and does very well, and he can hold up to where one running back can get 1,000 and the other one gets in the high between 500 and 1,000. If he falls in that category and he's Caleb Johnson and not Derrick Henry and not Dalvin Cook, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. If you would go in and be a bruiser, like Henry, be a bruiser, go be a little shifty guy like Dalvin Cook, whatever we need you to do.
Yeah. Score touchdowns. That's the end of the day. I don't care who you're pretending to be. I don't care if you're Barry Sanders or Christian Okoye. Find a way to the end zone. That's who I want you to be.
Christian Okoye. You always remember Christian Okoye.
How can you not? The Nigerian Nightmare.
I know. I always forget his name. I know who he played for.
Yeah.
Christian Okoye. You always bust him out in running back conversations.
How can you not, though? One of the best. Right? One of the best, man.
He's a freak.
And that was back when the Chiefs were the Chiefs. A lot of years, Mike. The Chiefs were nothing in the NFL.
They would have like teams that were very good, but not good enough.
I agree with you, Caleb. I think that's what it was too. I think Caleb meant that he just, he could fit in any system. And again, I hope that he comes out and does. Again, I don't care who he runs. Like, let's do what you can do and do your thing and make your name known and score some touchdowns for us. Tortilla also says Pickens like it's super nice to show up 30 minutes late. No one, So also, guys, let's get into some Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, Mike. So apparently now he has multiple friends, from what I understand. Aaron Rodgers says his delay in deciding next season is due to several people close to him battling cancer. I don't, again, it's nobody's business who's dying of cancer or who your friends are. But it wouldn't have hurt if you would have said that a little bit earlier, especially considering that there's a whole part of the market that the team you're talking about. It's a large part of in the NFL market, or kind of waiting to see what you got to say. But again, Mike, it's Aaron. Again, yes, it's cancer. This is what he's saying. But at some point you say, hey, people, I know some people are having cancer and I'm not going to be able to do this now. He's not telling us who. He's not telling us when. But I think at some point Aaron kind of we kind of deserve some information. Why can't he just at some point say that? Is this BS? Is it, again, and I'm not accusing it of being BS, but I'm just saying, Mike, he's not revealing information by saying, again, he knows several people. Again, that seems odd to me. Again, I'm not saying anything, but again, Aaron Rodgers says his delay in deciding next season is due to several people close to him battling cancer. Mike, I just wrote this, and again, I feel bad. Listen, if people are dying, my thoughts are with them. I hope the best. I hope for full recovery. But at the end of the day, this is just more Aaron Rodgers to me. It's not about the Steelers. It's never going to be about the Steelers. It's not going to be about building a winning culture with the Steelers. It's going to be about coming in. People are going to talk about Aaron for the next year, whether we get 5 wins, 9 wins, 15 wins. It's going to be a lot of Aaron Rodgers, guys. So if you're okay with that, you know what? That's probably good because, like Adam Schefter says, he believes that Aaron Rodgers will sign with the Steelers in the next week or so. And this is somebody that's a little bit bigger than the usual complaints that I have.
I was
Like,
gonna say this is sounding like the Kabuli 7 to 10 days. So now
well, I
we
never
got
seen in his defense, Mike, and I've never seen Adam Schefter fall asleep in a televised press conference. So I trust him a little bit more. Maybe
yeah,
he stayed awake through the information and got it right. But as
yeah.
up to the minute as I got is Adam Schefter thinks Aaron Rodgers will sign with the Steelers in the next week or so.
Oh God, you know what I know I waffle back and forth whether wanting him on the team or not. Um, Part of me wants to say yeah because I just want to see what he
Right.
got, see what kind of circus it's going to be. Either way, I'm going to be entertained. But another part of me is saying no. Let our bridge quarterback and Mason Rudolph play. Bring in your rookie a handful of snaps at the end of like games that if we're losing, let him get some action. Then at the end of the year, put him in for the last 2 to 3 games, see what he has. I'm happy either way. I'm happy with any outcome. I'm happy,
Right.
if we finish barely making the playoffs, get our ass kicked or whatever. Because I know this season is a wash anyway. So if that's the case, just let the younger guys play. And I'm tired of reading online of people saying, "Oh, we owe it to people like Cam Hayward, T.J. Watt, Mika Fitzpatrick to get them a nice playoff run or a championship." They owe it to themselves to do the work to do that as well.
They've had ample opportunities.
They've had ample time, ample opportunities,
in yeah, like in
and
these playoff
they've
games,
shat the bed.
again, there wasn't a lot of them because they didn't win.
Yeah.
But for quite a few years they were in the playoffs, and again, Mike, the
Yeah,
last
40
playoff games,
points a game.
40 points a game they're giving
Yeah.
up. So those guys had
Yeah.
ample
So,
opportunity
yeah.
to do that for themselves.
Yeah.
And again,
But,
now that they're old men and they probably should be on their way out of here,
Yeah.
they're going to sit around and talk about this
Yeah.
kind of shit, which is crazy to me.
But, is this team, excuse me, is this team in front office going to talk themselves into like, hey, by week, 10, 11,
They're
last
not going
year,
anywhere.
we were a game out of first place. We struggled down. The offense struggled down the stretch. When you get a quarterback who can move the ball up and down the field, will we have a better success? Will the defense be more rested? I understand that. Do I think that's going to be? Do I think they are just a quarterback away? No, this team is still building. So let the team build.
And again, that Jets team, like they do have they have better skilled players than we do in a few
Now, I think
spots.
their line is probably a little further along than ours.
Our
But
line,
you brought in Aaron
Mike, the
Rodgers and you let
receivers,
him.
they have. I mean, come on.
I like
Last year,
Garrett
Wilson on defense, Sauce Gardner, probably the best in the league,
Mhm.
young corner. I mean, again, this was a 5-win team with Aaron Rodgers. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be expecting miracles, guys. Just look at what the Jets did. Yes, it's the Jets, but again, they have a lot of bright spots that we just don't quite have in place at the time. And believe me, if you thought we heard a lot about Aaron Rodgers, the season he got injured, and then last season, being a Steeler fan, again, Mike, yes, if he comes, and I'm going to support him, he's going to be my quarterback. I'm going to hope we're going to win. I'm going to hope he does well. But at the end of the day, I'm just not ready for Aaron Rodgers. I'm not ready for the circus. And if this is his last hurrah, you don't think that they're going to talk about him just in national media alone?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, come on, the guy's last hurrah. They're talking about him in New York as a Jet 3 years prior to him throwing in the towel. Can you imagine if he says, "Okay, well, I'm going to play till the end of this year"? It's going to be so annoying. That's why I don't want to. I just don't want to. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers guy. Maybe if I was more of an Aaron Rodgers fan, I would be into this. I'm just not a big Aaron Rodgers guy. I don't get he was, he was a good receiver. He was no better than Drew Brees and some of these other guys, in my opinion, Mike. We've seen them play. They came when their time came, they left, and he's just lingering. I just not a guy. I'm not a Aaron Rodgers guy.
I never was either. Never really disliked him as a player. I always thought he was kind of douchey as well. But you know what? If he comes here, I'm all for it, man. I want to see.
It's just getting boring.
Yeah,
it's getting boring.
Like they just said on the board, you just get tired of talking about
him. Richard did say how many times has those rumors about Rodgers signing in the next couple of days to the next 2 weeks. The bottom line is, I'm tired of talking about him. And believe me, this is just
it's only the beginning.
It hasn't even started. It hasn't even started. Could you imagine the circus when he gets? I mean, off the top, it's going to be because everybody's going to want to talk about him, and then every game, and then the game against the Packers, and then the game against the Jets. And then the game against the Vikings, it's not going to not be annoying, believe me. Okay, we'll get and especially if we're not winning. Can you imagine how annoying that's going to be? If we're just not winning, the big thing, okay, this guy's going to be able to come in, pass the ball around, and we're going to be. Imagine if we're not winning and everybody's doing nothing but talking. Again, it's getting boring, but it could be annoying if it gets to that point, guys.
Yeah.
Mike, but I do have to move on. The last week I was talking about, of course, they do the softball celebrity game here in Pittsburgh, and I told you who the first 4 players was picked to the team defense. Mike, the first 4 players were named to the team offense. If you're planning to go down to see the Celebrity All-Star Game at Washington Wild Things Stadium, when Pittsburgh Steelers, local celebrities, and celebrities all get together to play, Mike, this is the first 4 players that are going to team offense in that game for July. Connor Hayward.
That'll move the needle.
Doran Dickerson.
I like Doran.
Christian Kuntz. And Joey Molinaro, who's a comedian. Mike, so those are your first 4 players in the Pittsburgh Washington Wild Things Celebrity All-Star Game. Takes place in July down in Washington County. We got the first 4 players, Mike, of both the offense and the defense. Surprise, surprise, there's a Hayward in each one of those groups.
Exactly. Gotta, rep the name. Gotta get the brand out there. Cam Hayward, gotta get that podcast stuff keep going.
Gotta rep the name.
Gotta rep the name.
Mike and
team.
Let's take a look at this real quick while we are talking football. I don't want to pass on talking about these couple things because I do got a couple good. Let me see if I can't pull it up here real quick. A couple good lists, Mike, today, and I didn't want to forget these because these are pretty good lists. And I think people enjoy lists. I do.
I like
people,
lists.
People like a good list every now and then. Right here, Mike. This is the. I don't know if you've seen this. This is the according to. Who is this according to? I think this is PFF as well. Like this is a all PFF defense list. I'm sure you've seen this. This is best defensive players by position in the NFL since the year 2000. Let's see how many guys we recognize here. Number 1, Mike, an interior defender, Aaron Donald.
Yeah, yes.
No 2 ways about it.
Arguably the greatest defensive tackle of all time.
Absolutely. I know that you might debate this one, Mike. You wasn't a big fan. I think that he belongs there. JJ Watt is also.
Yeah. Oh my, he was a freak at defensive end.
And again, this is since 2000. So
I'm a bigger JJ Watt fan than I am a TJ Watt fan.
Okay. Von Miller.
Oh, beast.
All right. Myles Garrett. What do you think? Smiles.
As a D end, beast. He you can't deny it. You hate it because he's brown, but dude's a freak. Force of nature out there.
Patrick Willis, 49ers linebacker.
Yeah.
Mike Ray Lewis.
Yep.
That's got to be unanimous.
No, that's just there's no debating. Like again, arguably the greatest middle linebacker of all time.
Cornerback, Mike, a player that was mentioned the other day for being in the Washington Celebrity All-Star baseball game, softball game, is Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman will be there, and he is one of the cornerbacks, Mike, on this top defensive team of all 2000s. Antoine Winfield Sr., cornerback from Minnesota. Down to 3 guys, Mike. A corner and 2 safeties. We should be familiar with these guys. The cornerback, Darrelle Revis. Safety, Troy Polamalu. And finally, Ed Reed. Ed Reed.
Yeah.
So that's your best defensive lineup since 2000, Mike, according to this PFF list. What do you think about that?
I really no complaints.
I'd like to see more Steelers, but you know what? It is what it is. And I like as long as Troy's in there,
Yeah. Trey, you could probably make a case for TJ Watt if you're going like depends on like how they did it, edge rusher or outside linebacker.
Right.
Everyone to say it, but you can argue him and maybe Myles Garrett interchangeable.
Right.
Because both are dominant players, but I don't have a problem with the list and the way they designed that defense.
And then my other list, Mike, because I love lists. I really do. This one is ranking college football top 25 players since 2000. College football players, top 25 since the year 2000. Mike, number one on the list is Cam Newton. Cam Newton, they're saying, is the best college football player out of Auburn, of course, over the since 2000. Number two, Mike, I think this one is right up there. Reggie Bush.
Yeah,
he certainly belongs.
Freak.
Big Sue. What's his name?
Nauticom Sue.
Nauticom Sue out of Nebraska.
Number 3. God, he was a fucking terror in the middle of that D line.
Number 4, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow coming in at number 4.
He really had what, that one really good year.
I think he threw like 8 touchdowns in the national championship.
Oh, that game was fucking sick.
Number 5, Lamar Jackson.
He was fun to watch down at Louisville. Yeah.
Number 6, Ed Reed out of Miami.
Yep.
Number 7, Vince Young out of Texas. Number 8, Tim Tebow out of Florida. Number 9, Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, of course, out of Colorado. Terrell Suggs, Arizona, number 10. Number 11, Larry Fitzgerald out of Pitt.
I just don't remember Suggs a lot in college. Because he was out on the West Coast, so East Coast time, man. I was already in bed by the time he was playing.
Was 10. 11, Larry Fitzgerald. Number 12, Andrew Luck.
Yep.
Number 13, Devontae Smith out of Alabama.
I didn't watch a lot of Alabama. So
number 14, my quarterback Baker Mayfield.
Yep, he was fun to watch.
Number 15, Marcus Mariota. This again is your top 25 college football players since 2000, 25 years. Marcus Mariota is 15. Number 16, Chase Young, Ohio State.
Yep.
Number 17, Christian McCaffrey out of Stanford. Big college player.
Yep.
Roy Williams, safety out of Oklahoma. Number 19, Julius Peppers, defensive end out of North Carolina.
Yep.
Number 20, Aaron Donald, number 20, best defensive lineman.
He was fun to watch at Pitt too. Him and Larry Fitz made me like Pitt football.
Well, they did get 2 guys that landed this list, and I mean that's really cool. Number 1, of course, is it's Jaden Daniels out of LSU. 22, Sean Taylor, Miami.
Oh, God, he was a beast.
23, Brock Bowers, Georgia. Number 24, Tyrann Mathieu from LSU.
Honey Badger.
And finally, Quentin Nelson, Mike, from Notre Dame. Guard. No. Yeah, guard, Quentin Nelson.
Nah. I don't watch college football for offensive linemen.
Right.
Maybe defensive linemen, yes. Offensive linemen, no.
So that is your rankings.
Not a bad list.
It's a great list, actually. Yeah. Matter of fact, I love watching it. Most of those guys.
Like you said, maybe Terrell Suggs, I didn't watch a whole lot of. The West Coast guys, I didn't see a whole lot of, but at least other highlights. But I don't ever remember seeing a single Terrell Suggs highlight until he became a Baltimore Raven.
Mike, also Pitt-related news. Bub Carrington, he did make the 2025 NBA All-Rookie team. So congratulations to him. He had a great season. He really did. Mike, he's going to be a big-time player in the NBA, playing for Washington. Not one of the teams in the finals, but maybe in the future for them because he brings a lot to the table. Congratulations and good luck moving forward. Also, Mike, Sidney Crosby, in his performance in this World Championship. He notched 11 points, 4 goals, 7 assists, and is at a +7 in 7 games. Jeez. Is second on Team Canada in goals and assists, and is third in points. His 11 points are tied for 5th in the entire tournament. And I think they play Denmark either today or we missed it just yesterday, but I know that Denmark was next on their list. So let's hope that. So they didn't get eliminated, right?
No.
Okay, they're still in.
No, yeah, that was like the round robin phase. They tied Finland.
Okay,
they didn't lose. I think I misspoke when I said that, but yeah, that was the round robin. Now it's down into the knockout phase.
All right, so good luck to Sidney Crosby and the other former Pittsburgh Penguins on the team. Not a USA team, so I kind of feel a little uncomfortable rooting for him, but I hope Sidney does well. So good luck to him. Go out and win, man.
Heck yeah, I always root for Crosby because I know at the end I'm going to win a gold medal. So I root for Team USA and Team Canada.
You're winning a gold medal. I want a gold medal. Let me look here. Yeah, Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website?
The 2dumbyinzers.com. You know, it's over there. We got my dumb thoughts, all of our social media links, and we got the merchandise store where you can have some fine merchandise like the Listen shirt, the Bob Nothing shirt, and the standard, the dumpster fire that is the standard of going 9-8 and losing in the first rounds. Check all that out at the 2dumbyinzers.com.
Raul, I do want to say welcome on the board. Raul says if Roger signed duck and send a message. Raul also follows it up by saying Browns have agreed to retire Sanders' number after he fails to make the practice squad. I like it.
This is what I coming in hot. I like it.
Mike, today's trivia question. You know what I'm going to do only because O'Neal Cruz has 17 steals so far in baseball. I'm going to pull away from football for one day for the question of the day, Mike. Today's trivia question is going to be a Pittsburgh Pirates question with the knowledge that you know of what I just said, Mike. Here we go. Question of the day, Mike, put on your thinking cap, everybody at home. Which of the following Pirates finished in the top 5 Pittsburgh Pirates for stolen bases? Which of the following Pittsburgh Pirates finished in the top 5 of Pirates stolen bases? Was it A, Andrew McCutchen, B, Barry Bonds, C, Dave Parker, or D, Honus Wagner? Again, which of the following Pirates, and it's only one, it's one player, which of the following Pirates finished in the top 5 of the Pirates stolen bases? So all time, this player is in the top 5 Pirates stolen bases. Mike, again, Andrew McCutchen, Barry Bonds, Dave Parker, Honus Wagner. Take a minute to think that over. We're live 5 days a week, guys. Every day right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day right here on YouTube. Question of the day, which of these following Pirates are in the top 5, Mike, in stolen bases? Andrew McCutchen, Barry Bonds, Dave Parker, Honus Wagner. Any guesses? Any thoughts? It's a tough one.
Because I know Barry was the first 40-40. I'm going to go Barry Bonds.
Go Barry Bonds. Not a bad pick.
Yeah.
One of the best ever. No two ways about it.
Yeah.
So Barry Bonds, is that your final answer?
Final answer.
All right, locking you in place on that, Mike. Question of the day, which of the following Pirates are in the top 5 of the Pirates stolen bases total? Mike, you said Barry Bonds. The choices are Andrew McCutchen, Barry Bonds, Dave Parker, Honus Wagner. Richard on the board said Honus Wagner. Mike saying Barry Bonds. Give another second or so in case anybody wants to throw a guess up there. Which of the following Pirates is top 5 stolen bases, Mike? All right.
Bonds.
You did take Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds, baby.
Honus on the board. Question, which of the Pirates are in top 5 stolen bases? The answer, of course, is Honus Wagner. D.
Oh, jeez. See,
and don't get me wrong, these other guys are up there on the list. They're just not in the top 5.
Yeah, you know what? That would have made sense. Every time there's something about pirate history being made or broken, it's old and ancient. I should have just followed the format of the show and just said Honus Wagner. That's well done, whoever got it right on the board.
Yeah, it fits the T most of the time. It fits the bill. Mike, anything before we start getting ready to wrap things up for today?
Oh yeah, did you see? Speaking of, I forgot to mention this during the league meetings. There is now an award for the best offensive lineman called the Protector of the Year. I think it should be, sponsored by Trojan or Durex. One of those two should sponsor that award, the Protector of the Year. And pretty soon it's just going to be the Offensive Tackle Award. And then pretty soon they'll have to make one for the interior, which should be sponsored by KY.
Hey, just give it time. You never know. You'll never know, Mike, because one day they did make ashtrays right in the seats of your car. So nothing is out of the question. Again, guys, the answer to the question of the day was Honus Wagner. He was the only one that is in the top 5 for stolen bases in the Pittsburgh Pirates history. Mike, the Buccos will be back in action today, starting a 4-game series against the Milwaukee Brewers at home. Mike Burrows getting his first time on the hill. He's getting his first look tonight. Again, the Brewers haven't announced their starter as of yet. Buccos back at it tonight, all through the weekend with the Milwaukee Brewers. If you missed Caitlin Clark lose by 1 point to the Dream the other night to Brittany Griner and the Dream, you get another chance to watch those two teams run it back tonight. That game is at 7:30. The rematch between Brittany Griner and Caitlin Clark. Again, Caitlin Clark, Mike, has had game high scoring in both games so far. Both teams 1-1 heading into the game. And finally, Mike, we get back to the Riveters, the Hounds, and the Pittsburgh Passion. Mike, 3 of our favorite pro teams right here in Pittsburgh that are not the Pittsburgh Pirates, Steelers, or Penguins. All 3 back in action this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun, Mike, especially that Pittsburgh Passion game. Our gals here in Pittsburgh, Mike, they have a big matchup against the DC Divas for the division. If we win, we're going to be in good shape. And any way you slice it, this is a huge game, Mike, and points scored for the Massey system that they do put all that into consideration when it's all said and done. So a huge game for our Passion, Mike, this Saturday down in Virginia to take on DC. So a lot of big games coming up this weekend, Mike. And I hope that I'm not forgetting anything else here. But and again, the Indiana Pacers for Caleb. The moderator. I'm gonna have to pull for the Pacers just because I know somebody. I don't know any Minnesota, no OKC, or no Knicks fans too personally. So I'm gonna stick with Indiana on this one. Who do you like in the NBA Finals?
NBA Finals. Yeah, I'm going to Indiana as well. Like I said before, I always liked them. They were one of my teams outside of the Lakers growing up that I enjoyed watching. So yeah, I'm happy to see that they're winning.
Who did you like in the Dallas, Edmonton, and Florida, Carolina for hockey?
I want Carolina and Dallas to make the final.
Okay.
That's who I'm rooting for.
All right. Fair enough. You know what? I'm going to go with the opposite 2 teams just because they're the opposite 2. And then I can deal with Edmonton and Florida. So, yeah, all right. I'll take
Go to Florida for the back-to-back.
Right. I mean, this is a team that Mike Reed even thought that deserved to be in the playoffs 2 seasons ago. Yeah. We lose. They get in. They make a great run. Then last year they did it again. And so this Florida Panthers team, they used to be on their hands and knees thanking us that we're so terrible. And we let them sneak into the playoffs 2 years ago. That's where it all started. So they should be on their hands and knees thanking us.
They should. We choked we choked so they could go on to win.
That's right.
Fuckers.
My last thing of the day is this, Mike. And this is a news story. An Italian artist sold an invisible sculpture for $18,000. An Italian artist sold an invisible sculpture for $18,000. I'm beginning to think that I'm in the wrong business.
Speaking of, hold on. I got my invisible sculpture right here.
Like,
I will take it just for a cool grand. Just a cool grand.
Yeah.
God, it's kind of like when I'm gonna go a little nerd here, but like when Banksy, that guy, the artist, someone bought one of his paintings for like $1.6 million. And part of the thing is, like, when the auction was over, when they bought it, the paper shredder turned on and the painting went down in and turned it into shreds. And everyone was livid. And that was part of the exhibit, is when you paid for it, it turned into confetti. It was like a cool 1.6 million washed away. We are in the wrong business, my friend.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. $18,000 for an invisible sculpture.
I just can't.
Well, we have an invisible co-host. Everybody say hi to Derpy. Look at Derpy right here on the screen with us, doing his job right where he should be.
Yeah, doing.
So anyway, there you go, guys. If you haven't been depressed enough, if you have not been depressed enough, guys, $18,000. Maybe start working on your invisible sculptures. See if you can pull that off.
I'm gonna start auctioning off my kids' coloring and saying, it's a new wave of like modern art.
Everything's art. If you get shit in your hand, rub it on a wall, it's art.
It's art, man.
I do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out and checking us out today. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. As always, we truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. I know a lot of people tune in for Steelers scoop, and we are getting there, guys. Every day gets a little bit closer to Steelers season. Again, we hit July.
Yes.
You know, we have OTAs next week. We have no OTAs the following week. Then you hit July. You're hitting camp. And then August, we're into preseason games. September, we're kicking off for the season. So, guys, it's getting there. I promise you, bear with us. We'll get to the finish line. I swear. I promise we will.
We will get there together.
But I do want to say thank you, everybody. Certainly much appreciated. I want to say thank you, everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here on the show. Great to see new names, old names, every name on the board. Always makes for a good day on the Two Dumb Yinzers. Mike, speak now or forever hold your peace, man. Anything before we take off for today?
So you summed it up perfectly at the end. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Especially, we know we do talk a lot of Steelers here. We appreciate you guys coming in to listen to us talk about the Buccos, the hockey, Caitlin Clark, women's basketball, all that stuff. We appreciate you guys.
But the more football, the better. Again, the more information and more scoop and stories, the more we will continue and take it the whole way through the year, baby. We love the black and gold, certainly, especially love our Pittsburgh Steelers. For Mike in the Two Dumb Yinzers and Pittsburgh Steelers Central Mobile Studio, myself, the Two Dumb Yinzers Show. Everybody have a great Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow, first thing to talk about all this stuff and much, much more. Have a great day. Get ready to go into the weekend tomorrow, Mike. We'll see everybody then. Have a great one. Bye-bye.